Welcome to another episode of Searching for MacGuffin with your host, George.
Gabe.
And Link.
I'm back, baby.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
How was Russia?
I was not in Russia. That was a bit.
Oh, okay. We're allowed to say where you were?
Yeah, you were allowed to. Yeah,
because I wasn't sure. You know how sometimes you're private.
No,
and like,
I really appreciate, by the way, you guys respecting my privacy. I'm really big into privacy, but my wife's Instagram is not. So I was in Hawaii and Alaska and Canada. Technically LA, Hawaii, Alaska, Canada, and then back home here, the beautiful city of Miami, Florida. But yeah, I was gone for 21 days thanks to flight delays, 22 days. So nearly a month, over 3 weeks. And I got to enjoy the show without me. So thanks for holding down the fort while I was gone.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Link.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. Dan isn't here today for medical reasons, which is ironic because as I took a step away from the show, I know in the past I've kind of limited or minimized Dan's role on the show. Maybe even some might say denigrated when I said that he wasn't a real host. But, you know, I learned this month as he sat in my chair and took over the studio. I was going to say he's, you know, finally in my eyes, a full part of this hosting team. But also he's not here today, so to hear that. So I guess maybe I'll bring it up next week. Probably not. I'll probably forget about it.
Yeah. Let's not tell him.
Yeah.
Also, now that you're back.
Yeah.
Asterisk.
Yeah, you were right. Yeah. What did I say? I said asterisk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give up my card as an English teacher. I think it was once. You know what? I'm not even going to rationalize or give it before I'm wrong again. Absolutely is a word and the correct form. So you waited a month to tell me that? Like on air?
Yeah, I think it was the last episode I was about to say it. And then I was like, no, I should probably just wait until you're back. So
Yeah. So I am fallible.
Justice for Dan.
Too bad he's not here to
claim it.
Yeah. So I have a lot to say, but this is not a monthly. So I guess I'm going to save my thoughts and comments till then because I'm not the only one who has returned. Someone else made a big return recently, and that is our friend
Maverick.
You just cannot get over this Top Gun movie, huh?
It's not happening anytime soon.
Okay. You're going to watch it again, aren't you? In theaters.
Maybe.
It should be at home, right? On Paramount soon?
4th of July, baby.
Is that confirmed? Is it be there 4th of July?
Oh, no.
Oh, you're going to go watch it?
That'll be my 4th of
Oh,
July activity,
okay.
probably.
Okay. I know that it was a little early, but I thought that they should have like staggered it in a way that they could release it for 4th of July.
Are we doing anything for 4th of July?
Barbecue?
No.
I kind of want hot dogs. I don't know why.
I'll buy a pack of hot dogs for you guys. I won't have hot dogs though, but I'll make corn. I'll make salmon.
Ooh,
barbecue
corn.
salmon.
Okay, so we can eat Chipotle today.
Salted potatoes.
We can eat Chipotle today.
Why can't we eat Chipotle today?
We can now.
Okay.
Then he's going to make that food.
Okay.
Oh, ooh. I'm excited for Chipotle now.
So I'm back.
Welcome back. We missed you.
Thank
we
you.
did miss you.
Don't leave again for so long.
Yeah, after this past month, I don't think I will.
Don't do that.
We'll end the season and then we'll just come back. And another season that happened though we can try to avoid talking about it, but it's gonna happen this week. Our episode is titled "Hello There, General Kenobi," and for those of you in the know, we just finished Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus. Now we're gonna do something a little bit different this week. We've actually been reacting to every episode week to week the past 5 weeks, and it's on our Patreon. So thank you for those of you who have either started supporting us on Patreon or switched over your support from our platform here through Anchor to Patreon. We invite you to join the Patreon if you want more information, more content from us. We, like I said, responded in a 5-part series, right, to all 6 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So if you want blow by blow, moment to moment, okay, all whoever,
scene by scene,
yeah, literally scene by scene, you can go back and take a look at that limited series that we have exclusive to our patrons on Patreon. But now we're going to do a more holistic, more, I don't know, in its completion, just to look back, response, and kind of, not a deep dive, but an analysis of this series, Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney+. Everybody's seen it.
Yeah.
A lot of people like it.
Yeah.
Well, Dan hasn't seen it.
That's why he's not here.
Yeah. So he was out for the last episode and he still kind of hasn't seen it. So it's got a lot of positive buzz, a lot of positive reviews, made a lot of money. I think it's the most streamed show that Disney Plus has had.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you hadn't heard? Yeah. It beat Boba Fett. Boba Fett was actually the most streamed show.
Boba Fett was the most streamed show. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Disney Plus just keeps beating its own records. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, these shows are big budget and you could argue about the quality, like that they're very well done. Obviously, they put a lot of work and time into it. But I also think Disney Plus is hot right now. So whatever show drops, everyone's going to watch it.
Yeah.
Netflix went through this phase, I think, where it was like whatever the new Netflix thing was the biggest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's how Stranger Things got as big as it did. You had movies like, you know, that Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston murder mystery movie that was like the biggest movie ever on streaming just because.
Yeah, I wonder, was that during the pandemic?
Yeah, it was
I didn't
during
watch that.
Yeah, it was during the pandemic.
I didn't.
You
I
didn't
didn't
watch
it.
It's bad.
You know what I did watch?
What?
That new Adam Sandler movie about basketball.
Hustle.
Hustle. That movie was great.
This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
Yeah, that movie was good, and it's on Netflix.
I
It's
heard it was good.
It's like a serious movie or?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays Adam Sandler, if it's a comedy, it's not good, but if it's like a serious movie, then
Oh yeah.
yeah, okay, I'll check it out. I still haven't seen Uncut Gems. Is that bad?
Oh, that's another good one.
Yeah,
That's a
is
great
good.
one.
I don't know if you'll enjoy it though.
because of drugs and cursing and stuff.
It's sad.
It's just
a
like
little
it's
dark,
just it's
darker
dark.
tone.
Yeah, it's darkish.
Oh, speaking of dark, how about Obi-Wan Kenobi? Huh? That was a dark series. No, no,
I thought it was colorful. You know, a lot of red and blue.
no. I didn't think it was colorful. I thought it was just a lot of darkly lit scenes. But we'll talk about that.
I think they're more lightly. I think they're more scenes that are lit than dark scenes.
Oh, okay, okay. So, what were your expectations going into this show? Because I think expectations plays a big part.
I think
in
yeah,
this
it's a reason why so many people watched it. Right? They were able to beat that record, and I had big expectations for this show. I mean, we've all dreamt about having an Obi-Wan movie,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
That was my first expectation. I was like, we're gonna get an Obi-Wan movie with him in the desert, and it's just gonna be him as a hermit and protecting Luke in the shadows.
That was your expectation when they announced this show?
No,
No, before,
this
Oh.
has been
yeah.
my expectation
Since Disney took
for
over.
years.
And they're
Yeah.
like, you had this before Disney took over, or once Disney was like, we're doing Star Wars stories, Solo, Rogue One.
I think before Disney, like I always like, I mean, maybe not like a movie, but I always thought about a story like with Obi-Wan, like what he did during the time.
Okay.
And I was like, no, I mean, Ewan McGregor's young enough; they can do something
Mhm.
with him.
Right.
But I think when Disney did buy them, I think that became more of that entered the realm of possibility more, to make a project like that. When I heard that this was announced and that it was a show, I was like, I wanted a movie, but I mean, this is cool. I mean, obviously they were coming out with their platform and they were bringing out shows, so I was like, we'll see how it goes.
I thought a show was better than a movie.
Mm-hmm.
When I found out about it, I'm like, okay, I'd rather have a show than a movie because I get more. You know, movies 2 hours,
Yeah.
2 hours and a half. You know, this is more, and that's what I wanted. Like, oh, I want this to be as long as The Mandalorian, and I got that.
You got more.
I got more.
You got more.
We all got more.
So going back to what you said about thinking about this story before Disney even bought Star Wars and rebooted the sequels, it's interesting because now I'm looking back and remembering that we envisioned a Star Wars story, quote unquote, even before when there was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We thought, oh, what if one day there was a Yoda movie? What if one day there was a Darth Maul movie? What if one day
Like I've always
was an
thought
Obi-Wan.
about, I've always thought about stuff like what Luke was up to after after Return. Like I've always thought about that. I mean, I guess a lot of people have, which I guess is why they have such strong opinions in the sequels. But it is what it is.
Yeah. And what Link said, that he was excited about a TV show because it was more time.
More time, yeah.
And I mean, this is one of Link's favorite characters, if not his favorite character.
Yeah,
right? In
he
Star Wars?
is. He is my favorite Star Wars character. I think Obi-Wan is the best Jedi. So I was really happy that we're gonna get a show, and because with the movies are great, right? But with the show, you get to like savor it. You get to
deep dive, extend the story, character moments,
the plot. You get me. You
Mhm.
you can get something. You can build something up, right?
or so we believed.
But
Because
Yeah.
that's the expectation for me when they said they were doing this. I was like, perfect, because we're gonna have a 6-hour movie. You know, I'm thinking Disney is pouring money into this, and it's not that they haven't done it, because I feel like Mandalorian is like a 6-hour Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Like every season, I feel like it's big budget. It feels, well lit, well acted. The story, yes, it's episodic, but I think it's film quality. And I guess that's what I thought we were gonna get, like a 4 to 6 hour movie quality. Me personally, I don't think that's what we got, but a lot of people seem to be happy with the final product.
And I'm happy for them.
Yeah, I'm happy for them too.
I envy you. I wish I were you. I wish I were happy for the final product.
Yeah.
But I'm not happy with the final product.
All
And because I'm not happy and I see you guys being happy,
and you're jealous.
I just want to go and no, I can't even joke around with this anymore. Never mind. I was gonna say I just want to go and destroy younglings, but yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
can't
that's-
joke around like that.
But you
But I
went
said
ahead
it
and said
anyway.
it anyways, yeah. I thought you were gonna talk about drinking Ewan McGregor's bathwater, which you did repeatedly.
No,
What?
it's not bath water.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was it?
What do you
Back
guys-
to tank water.
Back to tank
What?
water. He makes this joke all throughout the Patreon
It's
series.
the first episode.
Yeah, but Gabriel hasn't got around to listening to it because he wasn't on it. Because
I was on one of them, right?
no, you didn't. You were on the last one, the final one.
I wasn't on any of the Patreon episodes.
No, sir.
So if you're a big Gabe fan, he's on
It was,
episode 6.
It was me and George and Danny, like the first 2 episodes,
Yeah.
3 episodes, and then George left, and then we got Leanne,
I guess.
and I think Leanne and Leanne, Dan and I did 2 episodes,
No, I think he did one.
and
Oh,
then
nice.
Danny and I did 1 episode.
No, I don't. I did episodes 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay, we're going into this too much, but
Yeah,
I'm on everything, and then you guys do one with Leani, and then I come back for the finale with Gabe.
yeah,
So if you want to hear Leani, which I think her episode was the best one.
of course, because Leanne's so awesome.
Yeah, and because she's so positive.
so positive. It's
Yeah.
like, man, I want to be you
So
when I
shout
grow
out
up.
to our social media.
Shout out to Leanne, our social media queen.
So that was how that broke down. But I lost our train of thought. Who were we?
Talking about expectations about Obi-Wan. Our expectations for
Oh,
the shows, yeah.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you wanted to drink his back to tank water. That's the kind of content you can get on that series.
Exactly.
But getting back to this about the expectations, yes, they're happy. You're not that happy. We're varying degrees of dissatisfied with the show,
Mm-hmm.
which, full disclosure, I don't think the show is bad, like by any stretch of the imagination.
Really quick.
Yeah.
What show is better? The Obi-Wan Kenobi series or Boba Fett? Book of Boba.
I'm going to say Book of Boba because of those 2 Mandalorian episodes that are snuck into it.
Okay.
If I had to judge it on the overall quality of just the Boba Fett stuff, I think this show's
This
better.
show's
Yeah.
better than that.
Yeah. Better, like, produced and made. As a Star Wars fan, I'm a little more disappointed in the story direction that this show
I also
takes.
feel like the story has more weight with the character being Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
than Boba. Yeah.
If it sinks, it sinks
it's-
lower.
Yeah, because if they ruin Boba Fett post Jedi, it was like, okay, I guess this is what Boba Fett is now. He wasn't really well defined before, so
Mhm.
whatever. But Obi-Wan,
Such an important character.
yeah, he's primary, So.
Yeah.
Because at this point, if you're a Star Wars fan that consumes all of the media, you've probably spent, I don't know, 100 hours with Obi-Wan. You got episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and what, 7, 8 seasons of Clone Wars? How many?
Yeah, 7.
7, and then the final season?
I think 7 is the
7 is the final season. Okay, so and then like a couple of appearances here and there. You know,
Now you get a whole show,
maybe you read a book, a video
Rebels.
game, Rebels, exactly.
graphic novel. Yeah,
Yeah. So all graphic novels too, yeah, because some of those comics are exactly what I thought the show was gonna be,
right.
but it
Fortnite.
wasn't. That's right. All the hours that I'm Obi-Wan in Fortnite. That's a good point. Thank you for respecting my Fortnite identity. But before we get into what we didn't like, we like to stay positive on the show. We don't always commit to that promise, but let's talk about the highs. Let's talk about why do people like the show? Why does it work for so many people? And what did they do well?
They brought back Ewan McGregor.
I think that's number one on my list.
Yes.
Ian McGregor is back as
Mhm.
Obi-Wan.
He's great, and he does tremendous.
He does
throughout.
tremendous. Yeah,
he does great.
He works the best with what he has, right? Which is
amazing.
bringing back who plays Owen Lars?
Joel
Joel-
Edgerton.
Yeah,
Yes, the fact that you got Joel Edgerton in
The-
Revenge of the Sith and you're able to still get him
Ooh,
today.
don't forget Aunt Beru too, the lady that plays Aunt Beru.
I mean, I wasn't really sure if it was the same actress, but it is.
I think her only credits are Aunt Beru. in
There
two
you
different-
go.
in two
Well, you
different
know what?
ways.
Commitment to the role. That's what
Yes.
I call a method
I respect
actor.
that. Amberu has just been sitting,
Yeah.
waiting for the next Amberu.
Yeah,
role.
like she's not like the scene is done.
Yeah.
The show is over.
Mhm.
She's still Aunt Beru.
Yeah, yeah.
Like right now, she's doing Aunt Beru stuff.
Hollywood is calling her, and they're like, "Will you be Marilyn Monroe? Will you star in the Hunger Games?" And she's like, "No. There's gonna be a Star Wars project
She's
where
like-
they need Amberu."
And she's like, "What do you mean? What is Hollywood?"
Oh, she's in character. She's
in
literally
yeah.
Amberu.
She's a method actress.
Oh, so she's like, "What planet
What
is Hollywood?
planet is Hollywood? Yeah.
Oh,
Is it on Tatooine?"
I mean, another thing with expectations was when they announced the cast list for this show.
That's right.
I was freaking out, man. I was like, "What? You getting all these people? This is
Oh.
awesome."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, Han from Fast and the Furious."
I was
is
about to
gonna be there?
say, yeah. who were you excited that they got?
Well, I was excited for that. I was like,
I was
can't wait to
excited
see
for
it.
I was excited for Han, Rupert Friend,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right.
Kumail,
Kumail.
Some of these people I forget they're on
Hayden?
the show.
Hayden, yeah.
Ice, Shaved Ice.
You were excited for him?
I love Shaved Ice.
Ice Cube's
That's,
son.
Ice Cube's son. What's his name? He plays
O'Shea
Something
Jackson, Jr.
Jackson.
Oh, his name on the show?
Yeah.
Oh, Roken.
Roken. Yeah. But yes, his real name is, again,
Jimmy's coming. Jimmy came back. Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy
Smith
Smith.
came- yeah,
And he looks great. He looks older than he does in Rogue One 10 years from now, but that's okay. That's fine, I guess. Actually, the age of the actors and how they appeared, I guess we'll talk about that a little later on, but the choices they made, some of them were controversial, not necessarily in a bad way, but I know different people had different opinions about it. But let's focus on the positives. So the cast.
Yeah, they had a great cast.
Great cast. What else?
A high for me
Mm-hmm.
is Leia. I loved Leia. I love seeing little Leia. I like the actress that played Leia. I think she did a great job.
Yeah.
I agree.
She was pretty much the other
What would you say that? Like the
the
co-protagonist?
co-protagonist. Yeah, and
The
and
duo tag.
yeah, she's like the second most important. I mean, maybe third most important character in the
Uh-huh.
show, right? She was the MacGuffin, I guess you can say, in the first few episodes.
in the first few, yeah.
Yeah. So I think she did a great job. I liked her.
Yeah.
I liked her. I liked little Leia.
I feel like maybe she was a little overexposed, too much on the show.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. We're talking about positives.
Yes,
so,
yes, absolutely.
So yeah.
It's just hard to.
In my
Sometimes it's
when
hard
I'm
to
talking about
separate-
things I don't like, I'm also going to include little
Oh,
Leia.
okay, got it. Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. Because it's hard to go back and forth. Because I think you know what, I say this way too much on this show, but I feel like this show is a tale of two shows because it's like the positives are also the negatives in a weird way.
Mhm.
Because this show operates on two levels. It operates as a television series, which I think the show is good. I would even say it's strong. But as a Star Wars series, I think that's where it lacks. I think that's where it falls. But yes, Leia, the actress, she does very well.
Leia the actress. Anyone else? To me a high was I enjoyed all the Order 66 stuff. I thought that was very interesting.
Okay, you mean like the opening?
The opening,
flashbacks,
the
I thought was really cool.
flashbacks, yeah. The flashbacks with Hayden. I mean, with Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah.
I I thought they could have done. I liked it. I thought it was cool. Oh, we get to see them
You know what?
again.
I think that's one of the strongest things of this series. If you go back and listen to the episode where Leani, commented on it, she's a big prequels fan. Prequels fans, I think they were very well
They were
serviced.
rewarded. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the perfect prequel sequel, if that makes sense. Like the middle chapter that connects the prequels to the original trilogy. So if you're a prequel fan, which I am not, but if you are a prequels fan, I think you got a lot served on your plate here. And I think that's what's strongest. It's better than the prequels, in my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah. I think that. I mean, when
Hmm.
I watched them, I was young. When I watched the prequels, I watched them when I was young. So there's always that part of me that has like a soft spot for them.
Yeah.
In certain instances. So I think that definitely having that bridge did speak to me. Like it hit. Like I said, it reached out to those soft spots that I had for the prequels, and yeah, I think that I do think it is better. I would hope that it's better all this time later.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I do like the flashbacks. I agree with Link. I like the flashbacks and just like the little hints that we have in there, like the clone trooper that we saw, the homeless clone trooper that we see.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool too.
So little stuff like that.
It's played by what's his name? Boba Fett. I forgot his
Tamora
name.
Morrison.
Yeah.
No, I think you mean Jango Fett.
Django Fett.
Oh no, I think you
It's
mean
played by the guy.
Rex. I think,
Yeah.
oh, played by the guy that plays all those characters. Yeah. Tamora Morrison. Yeah, that's what you said. Go ahead.
No. I agree with you. I mean, you're agreeing with what I said, but I love the fact that we get Hayden back. You get me?
Yeah.
And I feel like Hayden does not get a lot. He got a lot of heat.
Mm-hmm.
Many people crapped all over his performance.
Young me among them.
Young
I
me,
apologize,
yeah.
Hayden.
Young me as well, and current me as well. But you were redeemed because of Clone Wars, so
Yeah.
so you should thank
The
Filoni for
Anakin
that. Yeah, the
character,
Anakin character to me was redeemed in Clone Wars, so that's why I personally like Hayden as Anakin. Now I do. Before I did not.
Mm-hmm. And while I was gone, you talked about this show being therapy for some people, including ourselves. Our show.
Our show,
Searching
yeah,
for
not that show,
MacGuffin.
not Obi-Wan. That was
No, but in a sense, it's therapeutic too on Obi-Wan, in the sense that I think our relationship with Hayden goes like, look, you were bad, but you were young, and we were young, and like we've grown, and we're willing to, like, that's all water under the bridge. You be Anakin now that you have like more context, that you have, because now Anakin is defined, and you kind of see, I don't know how much research or how purposeful it was, but you kind of feel more like that Clone Wars Anakin now that he's closer to the Vader, because poor Jake Lloyd in episode 1, The Phantom Menace, had to play like a little
Anakin,
kid.
yeah.
And what is that? What is even little Anakin? That means nothing,
Mm-hmm.
And then Hayden was just thrown in Attack of the Clones with this time jump, and like there's not a lot of context there. And then he only gets to finally that last step in Revenge of the Sith where he becomes Vader. He doesn't really get a lot of time to to play that. So Gabriel mentioned that he feels like at this time in 2022, I hope that this show is better than the prequels. Yeah, I agree with that, because I think just from a filmmaking perspective, I think it's as good as Revenge of the Sith. That's what I'll say. I think it's definitely more focused than episode 1 and 2. And I think just from a filmmaking perspective, I think the acting is way better, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I think one of the problems with the prequels is that the concepts are good, but the filmmaking is weak, which is kind of like the opposite of the sequels.
Yeah, the execution is great by the actors.
Yeah, the actors are great.
yeah.
The filmmaking, the
It's great,
directing
yeah.
is strong, but the story and it's not so good, and the characterizations, right? So
That's a good point.
So this series is kind of somewhere in the middle, where we have like good performances but not good story, and it's kind of a mixed bag.
I also like that, talking about Hayden coming back.
Yeah.
I also liked Vader. To me,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
a high point, because the Vader we see in the originals trilogy it's cool, right? It's awesome, but you always you were left with wanting to see more.
Yeah.
And we get a little bit of that in Rogue One.
Yeah.
We get seconds of it, right? But it's awesome, right? Here we get a show where you see a lot of Vader, and man, Vader is awesome. Like, I love Vader so much. He is so BA.
Okay.
His fighting style, like,
we're gonna go.
He's so powerful. That's what I really enjoy about
Yeah.
him. And we got to see that. We got to explore how powerful he is, because you know he's great. You know he's powerful. He's he's Anakin. He's a chosen one. But how powerful is he actually?
Yeah.
And we got to see that in film.
In a way that you couldn't, like, back
Exactly,
in the original
before,
trilogy.
yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go on a little bit of a side conversation here, because you mentioned Vader in Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that scene in Rogue One at the end, spoilers if anyone hasn't seen.
Oh my goodness! If you haven't seen Rogue One, what are you doing with your life?
A Star Wars story.
It might be the best Star Wars movie in the Disney era.
Yeah, Vader tears through a hallway of rebel troopers, right? By doing all the Vader things. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard the criticism of this scene.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, why would anyone criticize this scene?
The face of shock on Gabriel as he turned to me. Like, he woke up instantly.
What do you mean?
Okay, so I'm going to contextualize this scene for you now, and then I'm going to juxtapose it with what we felt about Vader in this series, especially towards the end. Some fans and critics feel that Vader is too powerful in that Rogue One scene, where it kind of breaks the suspension of disbelief in 4, 5, and 6. Where, like, if he can do this in this hallway, like, why don't the fights go a different way later on in the series? The second part of that criticism is Vader's the bad guy. And if you make him too cool, then you've usurped the emotional connection that the audience has with the villain. For example, we are cheering on and we are floored by this man murdering the good guys, the ones we're supposed to be rooting for. We're propelled towards the action of the bad guy winning, which we should be invested the other way around. Our goal for a scene like that should be getting the Death Star plans in the hands of Leia, rather than seeing Vader kill people in a cool and exciting manner.
Oh, maybe Hollywood shouldn't be so black and white then. Right? People can be good or bad, and we get to choose whether we celebrate they're good or bad.
Okay, but I don't think...
That's my defense to that argument.
But I don't think there is a shade of gray there. He's clearly the bad guy.
I know, but I get to choose whether I cheer for it or not you. You don't tell me.
But do you get to choose whether he's the bad guy? Do you think he's a good guy in the scene, or...
He's not a good guy
He's
in the
not
scene.
a good guy in the scene, but I get to cheer that. I get
Okay.
to decide that. You don't tell me. I mean, obviously you want them to tell you, right?
Right.
But we get to make that decision, okay? Because yes, he is a bad guy. But you know what else I saw when I watched that movie afterwards? Gabriel crying.
Mhm.
Tears of joy at that scene.
But I think what wraps it is the two elements of that, because you said we're supposed to cheer for Leia getting the plans. At that point, when that movie comes out, Carrie Fisher just recently passed away.
Yes.
So when that I mean, it still happens to this day. Like
Mhm.
every time I watch Rogue One and that scene happens, and the amazingness that is like Vader mowing down people, and yeah, like he's the bad guy, and I shouldn't be cheering. And I'm not necessarily cheering for him. I'm literally just in awe of what's happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm just freaking out.
This is
Fight
epic. This is
choreography.
epic. Yeah.
The villain
Like
finally
it's
showcasing.
It is just it's a feat like that you're witnessing, and it's not like I'm just like, yeah, kill him. Like that's not how I take it.
Yeah.
I think the scene, like, it's awesome, and awesome typically gets put into amazing like that in a positive kind. Awesome can
Right.
honestly just be like
awe-inspiring.
it's just
BA.
like my jaw's dropping.
Yeah.
And then so once like that happens, but then they still get the plans to Leia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And then
enormity of the
she-
scene.
Yeah, and then like you see like a young like a CG DH Leia, and you have, and then like she provides that line that, I mean, I'll always remember. It's like where she just like, what is it? And she just says hope.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, that's some of the most impactful Star Wars that I have witnessed, and that's why it always gets me.
Yeah.
Like I'll always like randomly like get emotional watching that part.
Yeah.
And so I think that I I don't necessarily like. I can kind of see where the criticism, because I don't want to be blind to
Right.
other people's opinions or to something
And
like
also,
that,
it's
but
like nothing is perfect in this world, right?
of course, yeah. But I think that, I mean, a lot of it is subjective, I think.
But at the same time, too, it shows you the gravity, like this, how severe that
Yes.
scene is. Like, because before this movie, all we have is shooting. You get me running away from Vader. We don't know. Okay, this guy's literally he's walking. Well, if you watch A New Hope, he's just walking in, right? There's no lightsaber running. He's just walking in. People are running away, right?
Right.
You know, stormtroopers are shooting. Now you see, okay, because of that scene right there, like, oh man, yeah, you better defend yourself. You better start shooting because this guy, like, we barely got the plans for the Death Star. We barely got it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of that scene right there. Because you introduced Vader being a complete BA. That's how, like.
But I mean, it also goes into like that character of who Anakin is. Anakin was always the showy type. Anakin's always been the type to like do the most.
Right.
And so like
he's extra.
he is extra. And like you're gonna tell me like obviously he's a different person. He turns into Vader, but he still carries those traits with him, like pulling a guy up to the roof and chopping him in half. Like Obi-Wan would, like, if he has to do it like something in a similar manner, Obi-Wan's deflecting shots back at the people.
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan's defending, like Anakin's just cutting through people.
Yeah.
And I think it also escalates the stakes.
Yeah.
Like what you said.
It creates weight to it.
Mm-hmm. Seeing the casualties of war in the Star Wars.
Yeah.
And seeing that it's not just like getting shot and falling, but like you're getting, brutally murdered. It's funny what Gabe said about sobbing and being teary-eyed at the end of it, because these films mean so much to us because they're not just films. Like you said, hope is that throw line at the end of Rogue One and throughout Star Wars, and that means so much to us in our lives beyond just a movie. But then the other part of it is you have to keep your feet grounded and realize that it is just a movie. So that was made, well, how many years before A New Hope? Mm-hmm.
You get me? Like, are we gonna, so should the fighting scenes in all Star Wars be as
you're just gonna
boring?
limit it?
Yeah, limit it to whatever they did in A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back.
Right. And that should also be our view on canon, I think. When we look at a show like this, we think about, like, how does this fit into the original trilogy? And the original trilogy is sacred with everything that it says and does and happens, but we also have to be willing to color outside the lines and to push forward, because technology and storytelling and pacing has all changed. So it's got to feel like Star Wars, but it's also got to feel like now.
I mean, you got to progress. You got to
Yep.
move forward. Like, we're not going to stay back in the 70s for all time, especially when we have the capabilities to make something better, to make something more visually, like, astounding. Like, obviously, like, as an art form, you want to progress. You want to, and I feel like that's what Lucas was trying to do with the prequels.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't execute as well. But
Depending on who you ask.
yeah. But in my opinion, but I think that I genuinely think that, like, that's the where we should be striving, what we should be like moving forward to.
Yeah.
Like, one of my biggest, I mean, this joke is so overplayed. Everyone's saying, oh, in a few years, Obi-Wan's gonna look like what's the guy? Alec
Guinness.
Alec Guinness.
Sir
Alec Guinness. You get me? Like, everyone jokes around. Oh, like how many years now from it's 6 years,
Well,
right?
Now it's like 9 by the end of this series.
Okay, so 9 years left, and he's gonna look like that.
Yeah.
Like, everyone jokes around. Oh, he's supposed to look like that. He's supposed to look like that. Dude, this movie was made like so long ago. Like, there's context.
What are
like,
you gonna do? I'd rather
what are
have
you
the
gonna do?
original actor.
Yeah, you're gonna
I saw Solo. Like, obviously that guy doesn't really look like Harrison
Yeah,
Ford,
yeah.
but he's Solo, so
Yeah. And that was like, that's 10 years before too, right? So, yeah. Now that we had that conversation, going back before I move on, are there any other positives? Because I'm going to expand on that conversation that we had regarding that scene in Rogue One and how it applies to this series.
I like the lightsaber fights.
Yeah, the
I thought,
duels
I
I thought
thought
were awesome.
I thought how the lightsabers looked were really cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know. I mean, we'll probably get into that, but I liked the conversation with Obi-Wan and Vader in that final fight. I mean, I do have obviously like in between these things, like these are things that I like,
Right.
but in those things there are things that like I'm not a big fan of. But I think overall, it's like I am happy I got to see a lot of that stuff.
Which is very reminiscent to, I think, what you guys talked about in the Obi-Wan miniseries on Patreon about the lightsaber fights. Like in the prequels, they're better choreographed, but also then have their downsides, like where they make less sense, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's give and take and compromise. That's what I think we're talking about. Because going back to that Rogue One scene, you give up emotional, like, you're right, I am, quote unquote, cheering for the bad guy, but also it's just a movie, so it's okay for me to think this is cool, because in the end, the rebels win. They get the plans, they move forward, and we cheer Leia. That's what we walk out with.
And you know what happens to Vader at the end. You get me? You know that in the end there is redemption. That's why I don't think it's just so black and white.
Right.
Because Vader's a complex character. Anakin's a complex character,
That's
right?
true.
And you're rooting. We know what's going to happen. So we fell in love with Anakin in the prequels and in Clone Wars. We want him to succeed. So we want redemption for him. And if he's going to be a BA while being a villain, I'm like, okay, I'll be in awe of that. If you do it well, I'll be in awe of that, like how Gabriel was saying.
But I also think like specifically a character like Vader is like the blueprint for a lot of other villains being just BAs and us like cheering for them, I guess, like them doing crazy stuff and us being like, this is actually really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
I think Vader's one of those villains that like he's probably the most popular.
I think he's the most
villain of all
popular.
time.
I think Vader is the end all be all. What villains? And don't forget the thought that you were getting to. But what are the villains you think are on that same level?
Joker.
Okay, any specific interpretation of Joker or just Joker?
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger,
Not
yeah.
every interpretation.
Yeah, for me it goes Nicholson, Ledger, and Hamill. Right? I think all three of them. So what's funny because when you say just Joker, I'm thinking you're right. The character as a whole.
The character as a whole.
The character as a whole, because even even in this last one with Joaquin.
The Snyder cut.
No.
Oh,
Even with Joaquin, like
he's great.
that's true.
Like people are cheering for him in that movie.
A character, even though he's so clearly a villain and evil, that can propel the narrative. Very few villains can do that.
I mean, people were cheering for Scarlet Witch.
That also did happen. I wouldn't
That's
say she's
true.
on the same level.
I wouldn't say she's on the same level, but
it's a bit
people
more
were
complex.
people were cheering for her.
Okay, but you know what? I'll disqualify Scarlet Witch from that conversation because Scarlet Witch gets to be a hero for like 10 years
Mhm.
and then turn heel, so to speak.
Turn bad,
So
yeah.
it's like
Villain.
you have all of these, like you have all this good momentum, so you don't feel that bad about cheering for her. We're talking about Vader and Joker never being good per se. And I guess the prequels complicates that for Anakin.
Yeah.
But Vader in the suit and Joker are pure villains, and you still cheer them because of how good at being a villain they are.
It's a good villain, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you're the hero's only as good as a villain.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And who is a better character in The Dark Knight? Batman or the Joker?
I mean, in The Dark Knight, I would say it's Joker. You know,
Exactly.
Joker. I would even say in Batman '89, it's Joker too. You know,
Yeah.
Maybe even in the animated series, it might also be the Joker.
Yeah. Your hero's only as good as a villain.
Yeah. And I mean, Luke's not as cool as Vader.
He's
as
not.
cool as Luke is.
Although, I don't know, man. Luke and Mandalorian.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Oh.
that's cheating.
no,
That's
but
in
like in
2020.
the times of like
yeah.
OT, like with obviously Vader is carrying that trilogy. It's about them,
Mhm.
but I think that Vader is the villain is carrying that story.
Any other villains?
Thanos.
I was thinking Thanos.
You know, from a
Okay.
cinematic perspective, yeah, they did a
think
great
so.
job building him. Yeah,
Thanos.
because he's carrying the story too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're few and far between.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it all
I'm
depends
sure
on
if you,
how.
like, look at
if-
the list, you
I
could-
think it all depends on the media we're talking about. Because if
Yeah.
we're talking about film, then yeah, the ones
I think
we
we're
said.
talking about film and TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because some of the to me great villains, no matter I
Yeah,
think
we can get into like literature,
Yeah.
Moriarty.
Mm.
You know,
I do. I mean, we do see Moriarty though,
Yeah.
and he's great. He's
Yeah.
also great. That's a great point. I mean, I think Kingpin's probably the best villain in the DC. I mean, I'm sorry, in Marvel,
Yeah,
in the MCU, both graphic novel wise and comic books, and now in Daredevil, and
and TV
in TV.
Yeah. and movies
And
too,
movies, yeah.
Right, Michael Clark Duncan, rest in peace.
the blonde lawyer from Hell's Kitchen.
It's been a while.
It's been a while since I
line's
said
come
that.
back.
Yeah.
But-
Even then, like if you look at Luke Cage, right?
Mhm.
Gabriel and I both agree that once Cottonmouth is killed, bro, that show
That
suffers.
show, yeah, that show,
The show
drops.
You know, and I think I was cautious to agree with you because I still liked season 1 as a whole. I think more than you guys. But once it like fell off the rails later on, I've come to that. Like
Yeah.
you're right. It was a bad choice.
What's his name? Purple Man. That guy's awesome.
Crippled Man?
Purple Man.
Oh.
Jessica Jones.
Yes.
Yes,
Jessica
that's a
Jones.
great villain.
Yeah, and without him, that show
Yo,
suffers too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So once again, few and far between. So Vader is this.
He is
the
the best, yeah.
quintessential villain, which I think is why our expectations that we talked about and the good that is on this show then leads us to what we didn't like about it. And I think it's all that this show has to live up to. It has to live up to the mythos of Star Wars, the chronology of Star Wars. And they're not free for Vader and Obi-Wan to be who or whatever they want. They have to live up to who and what they already have been established as. So
just because you brought back these two, Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, you're bringing back Vader and Obi-Wan. It doesn't mean it's going to be an easy show. It doesn't mean that you're going to be easily. The fans are going to easily.
It's not a shoo-in.
Yeah,
to be good.
It's all you're setting the expectations high, like you're saying, right?
Mhm.
We're all more excited. You get me? We go in with a positive mindset that this is going to be awesome, right? So it's in my mind, it's harder for you to fail.
Yeah,
because everyone wants you to. Everyone's cheering for you.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was a shoe-in.
Yeah,
I thought it was.
I thought
a layup.
I thought, man, this is probably going to be the best show
Ever.
ever. I was like the best Disney Plus show.
Well, I thought like it's gonna be as good as Daredevil, or I don't know what else do you consider the best show, like genre show. Let's say.
Yeah.
I'm not saying The Wire, The Sopranos, or
Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I was
expected
expecting
Mandalorian.
great, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I thought it was a simple story to tell. And you were only doing 6 episodes. I thought it would be concise, focused, and grounded.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it wasn't any of those things.
Yeah.
So what fundamentally makes this show a disappointment for you guys? Where does it start?
It's
think-
a TV show.
Yeah, I think
It
nostalgia
should have been a movie.
is they expect. I think nostalgia is one. They depend too much on nostalgia, right?
Mhm.
The fact that you have Leia, which is like I said, I loved Leia, love the actress, I love the character, little Leia, but you don't know when she was there for too long. She did not to be there.
I don't think she needed to be in it.
She
at all.
did not.
I don't
mean, she
understand why
didn't-
this is half of her show.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, right?
Yeah.
I agree with, but she did she need to be in it? No,
Not at all.
It's cool that they brought her and we got to learn a little bit more about her. I like the actress. I like, it's cool that little Leia has always been the same.
Yeah.
You get me? Did we need her? No. Does she overstay her welcome? Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like nostalgia is a reason why. Like, oh, no matter, we're gonna justify it's Leia. She can be here as long as she wants. But no, like, she's there too long.
She's there too long. And I also think it breaks, again, the understanding that the fans have of Leia's relationship with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I think by the end of the series, they tie it up in a way where they explain why Leia and Obi-Wan Leia won't express her relationship and history with Obi-Wan
Yeah.
in a certain way, but it's not enough to calm the unrest in my mind, where like, if this was such an important chapter to these two characters, why aren't they closer tied together in A New Hope? Again, I'm not saying the show breaks canon, although some people are arguing that. I think you can rationalize it and make it fit, but I don't think it's something you had to rationalize and make fit.
But even then, like, I'm thinking about it back now. It's like when Obi-Wan dies in A New Hope, Leia's consoling Luke.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be? Yeah.
I feel like if this actually happened, Leia should be like distraught.
Okay.
Like this guy that saves her when she was a little kid, that goes after her, like rescues her, and I don't know. I just feel like it gets complicated when you
Introduce
put these
characters.
Put these things in, and that's why I personally feel like it should have been a film, like you said. It should have been a more concise, story. Should have been more grounded. And I feel like with the show, I think it gets into more problems, especially with its character that we know where this character's going. What I love about Mandalorian is like I don't know anything about him. And like seeing that week to week, having like building that world up, I don't have really expectations or know what to expect because the galaxy is huge.
Yeah. It's a period we haven't covered with a character we haven't seen.
Exactly. And I think that a show for those purposes works beautifully. I think that Obi-Wan should have been just a 2-hour film, a 2.5 hour or whatever, 220.
Go 3.
Whatever, let's do it.
Go 3, yeah.
But I think that just helps with a lot of the wrong steps that they have in the show.
You mentioned the death of Obi-Wan. Can I play Sith's advocate for a minute?
Yeah, go.
Okay. So number 1, she consoles Obi-Wan because she understands the grief. I'm sorry. She consoles Luke because she understands the grief, how important this person is. And on the flip side of that coin, think about someone that was really important to you a moment in time a decade ago and how you would feel if they died, having not seen them.
But I think
for like a whole generation.
It is true though. But like, I think that
it would be like sad.
I think nothing.
If you're like 10th grade teacher, or like no, she was what 10, so like
your 5th grade teacher.
You're like 5th grade
what
teacher.
I'm going back to,
died.
I'm going back to, I guess, is like she's already in the trenches. Like she just had her whole planet blown up. So like,
yeah, she's got bigger things to.
Yeah, like she's not really
right.
Which I get.
Also, Luke,
and also she's strong. She's stoic.
Leia is stronger than Luke.
Yeah, she's very stoic too because, like you said, her parents were just murdered alongside her entire planet.
Yeah,
and she also doesn't really stop to grieve that much either. You know.
Yeah.
She's constantly losing, and she doesn't really stop to show it. So Obi-Wan wouldn't, I think, be any bigger of a loss than what she's already lost in this film and throughout the trilogy.
But also.
So that's just me defending.
No. I appreciate it.
But it's still too many. In my opinion, too many emotions that like that answer might be enough for me, but not for you and maybe for him. So maybe we just shouldn't have that discussion. You know what I mean? Maybe you should just avoid,
stay away from it.
Yeah, stay away from it. Yeah. Don't complicate these things. What else?
I mean, I thought the writing of the show was one of its weakest points.
Yeah.
Especially when it came to writing Reva. I thought Reva was
her character was weak.
I thought her character was weak.
Not even like the actress. I don't think
the
actress had enough to work with.
I don't have a problem with the actress herself. Yeah, I'm not gonna get angry at the actress.
Like some people.
But I agree with what Gabriel said. It's like she didn't have much to work with.
Yeah. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, she did amazing, because I don't think she had material enough to be amazing with.
Yeah.
I think she did fine with what she had, but I don't think she had much to work with.
But I thought she was written poorly. And one of my problems with Star Wars is that I don't think they know how to write minorities well. Like every time they're adding more diversity, incorporating minorities, and they should let it go to waste. And that's another, like, we see that here. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
That's an interesting. I don't really see, and maybe you have to like unpack that a little bit more. But
Finn, Oscar Isaac,
with that character, Oscar Isaac didn't do much either.
Kelly Marie Tran, like you introduce all these great characters, but I mean, diverse actors.
If you're not holding a lightsaber.
Yeah,
honestly,
okay. So then, ultimately, I don't know if it's a race thing. And speaking as a minority, I don't know if it's that they don't know how to write, or they just don't know how to write characters.
I think it's more on that side. I don't think
the cast is becoming more diverse naturally, but I just don't think they know how to write new characters.
They probably don't. But I mean, they knew how to write Kylo well.
No, I don't even think so, bro. I think Adam Driver is.
No, Adam Driver carries.
Okay, then you're there. You go. You got Adam Driver to me is my favorite part.
He's
of
the best
and
part
he's
of
carrying a lightsaber, because it's true.
And he's
like, listen, the Jedi and the Sith will always like. That's it, because you cast them as Jedi and Sith. That's it. They have a head start on all the other characters.
And I mean, I'm sure there's other examples, but the one that comes to mind is Mando for me right now. Mando's I think he's a great character.
The exception to this rule is Filoni. You give him something, he's gonna knock it out of the park.
I think that's.
But everyone else that touches minorities, and I include Daisy in this as well.
Yeah,
as a woman, she's a minority.
I mean, she's
yeah.
women are half of the population.
Yeah,
on
you're
Earth,
right, you're
so.
But
Aren't they
I
more?
don't. I think women are underrepresented.
there we go,
you know what I mean?
underrepresented.
But I don't think. I think it's just that every character is poorly written, and I'll even argue, man, that Kylo Ren is poorly written in the sense that the flip flop from
good.
tweener to heel to straight baby face, you know.
Explain these top.
Yeah, I know. I'm using
come
wrestling
on. Yeah.
verbiage, but I'm doing it purposefully because I know we keep coming back to it.
Yeah.
Starts as a character that you like, the bad guy you
A
like.
good- yeah, bad guy.
And then he goes completely evil in Last Jedi, where like there's no redemption. And then he goes completely good to a hero in the third film. That flip-flopping
Yeah.
of allegiances is not good character writing. But Adam Driver is so good, and I think all the cast is good.
The cast is great.
But Adam Driver is, I think, head and shoulders like above, like just an amazing actor that he's able to work in all these personas where you're like, it doesn't make sense, but I love him. It doesn't make sense, but I hate him. It doesn't make sense, but I want to see more about this character. Not in that order, in reverse order. But he's just so good that he can make chicken scratch into chicken salad. And in a way that, unfortunately, I think Daisy,
Poe,
Oscar
Isaac, and Finn,
John Boyega.
John Boyega were not able to do. Also, I mean, Kylo gets a lot more screen time than those. And Daisy Ridley, sure, she has a ton of screen time, but I think her character's probably as badly underwritten, but she's the protagonist.
Yeah.
So it really hurts
Mhm.
that, you know, her motivation's a problem, because when you said about Reva, motivation, and that's what we talk about here on the show, that motivating factor. I don't know why people do the things they do on these.
It doesn't
I don't
make
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
She turns out to be the youngling.
And that's
she
treated like a big reveal, by the way.
And she, we knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's
And she joins the Inquisitors and becomes a psychopath
Mm-hmm.
to get revenge.
to get revenge on somebody that, like, I don't.
A couple of lines in that reveal that revealed and didn't reveal to me. Number one, he goes, "Oh, you're not fighting for him, you're hunting him." Something along those lines, right? Obi-Wan reveals that. So you're telling me all these evil things that Reva's been doing is part of like a quote-unquote good plan? You know what I mean?
No, bro, it's the dark side. The dark side took a hold of her. Man.
Yeah. But then the other part is the big question mark by episode 1, and this is a problem because they planned that big reveal that Reva was a youngling in the temple. Going week to week, we had a month before this reveal. A month or 5 weeks? Was this episode 4 or 5? You remember?
What was
Where they
4.
reveal? Yeah, 4. Okay. So we had a month.
Yeah.
Everyone.
3 weeks.
You, me, all our friends and family, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. We all figured it
We
out.
all knew that was her. Yeah.
We had a month to mull over.
If I figured it out, then anyone can figure it out.
That moment carries no weight. The one question we had is, how are they going to explain that she knows that Anakin is Vader? I feel like they didn't.
They did, but I didn't think it was good enough.
Go. What did they say?
What did they say?
I thought you said they did.
They did. Like, I mean, she saw him, right?
She saw him kill younglings.
And she felt the same presence in
No,
and
they
Vader.
didn't. No, they never said that.
That's why I assume. That's what I reasoned.
Irrational, but they didn't say that.
Me too. Me too. That's what I assumed.
Because I was waiting for it, because I was angry when she tells Obi-Wan that.
Which is dumb. I don't know why they did that too. Like, that's
It didn't really serve.
It didn't serve any purpose whatsoever.
Also, I didn't like the delivery of that.
I didn't like her delivery.
Her sing-songy
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
I we're talking about the bad parts about the show.
Uh-huh.
Her knowing that Anakin is Vader,
Yes.
terrible. Why would you do that?
And it was a terrible way to start, because that was day 1. That was the bottom of, that was
Episode
the end of episode 2.
yeah.
That dropped on day,
Day
1.
one, yeah.
That's
Which, if you
crazy.
remember, for those of you that listen to the show weekly, we literally got up in the middle of recording to run to go watch this when they stealth dropped it. We were so excited, and that was the last note that night, 2:00 in the morning, ended on.
Everyone's kind of like,
Yeah. It was a misstep.
Flea was in it though.
It was a misstep that I think created a rocky path.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you don't want to start with a rocky path.
absolutely. Yeah.
Also, like, it's such a misstep. Like I said, everyone has high expectations for this show, right? Everyone wants a show to succeed.
Right.
You get me? By doing that, you're setting yourself down for failure.
Yeah.
Setting yourself up for failure. Like you're ruining one of the most important things in Star Wars, that no one knows that Anakin is Vader, other than Palpatine.
Yeah. Like he literally in like extended media, like literally pushes guys into space, like just to get rid of them, like kills them if they find out.
And even then, the person that does figure it out is a character that no one really cares about.
Right.
Makes it even worse.
Yeah, because no one cares about it, not because the character's bad, but because we've only known her
for like 2 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and only a portion of those episodes.
Bro, I read like it wasn't until like 2 books in for Thrawn that he like guesstimates that it's him, or like he knows it's him.
That's another great villain right there.
Yes. Oh man.
Oh yeah. Okay, that is like
that might be up there with Vader.
No, I mean
in the sense of like, because I don't even know. Obviously he does villainous things, and he is a villain in Rebels and stuff like that. Right. But when I read his books, I'm rooting for this guy I'm rooting for the Empire,
right? Because he's so classy and
it's because he talks like this.
He's such a classy man. That's why it's hard for you to root against a classy person.
Didn't like that Leia was such a huge part of the story. What else didn't I like? Are we gonna? Let me know when we get to the fight. When we get to that fight,
we can talk about that.
We can talk about that now, yeah,
bro. The Avatar stuff, man.
the rock. I mean, the earth bending.
Not the blue people.
The earth bending.
The earth bending.
Man, it got to do something about that. This broke the show for me.
The earth bending.
Yeah.
The Force using the rocks.
Dude, I was so like, honestly,
to recap real quick. Final fight, final episode. Obi-Wan is trapped under rocks. He uses the Force to burst out of it. They continue their duel. It's no longer a duel. It's giant boulders being hurled at each other using Force powers. Go.
Yeah, like that fight starts. I'm like, oh, this is sick. This is awesome. This is the big fight. Yeah. And everything up to that was great. Yeah. Like the fight was great,
except for the sparks on the lightsabers. But
and then that also doesn't make any sense. But then he lifts the rocks, and I'm just like, really? Why didn't you like make a joke about this in like one of the sequel movies?
Yes.
Like it's just like the Force is lifting rocks. And
listen, I'm not saying you can't lift a bunch of rocks. Number 1, Luke learns to lift a rock
and frogs
on Dagobah. Yeah, ready. Rey learns to lift a rock on Acto, right? At the end of Last Jedi, she has to focus, right? And lift all the rocks to open the passageway for the rebels to leave, in much the same way that Luke has to focus to lift the X-Wing, right? And that's not until Rise of Skywalker, right? That Yoda does it in Empire Strikes Back, right? So yes, but you have to stop, you have to focus, and it is very extraneous. This man lifts 100 boulders almost effortlessly.
He's Star Killer. Like,
yes,
you have Star Killer abilities now.
Yeah.
You know what? Going to that too. Is it an Attack of the Clones or when we get Yoda versus Count Dooku,
yeah,
right? They're having an awesome fight. Yoda's doing all these flips, which caught me by surprise when I watched that.
Yeah.
Right. But then like he gets that huge boulder, that huge rock, and throws it to Yoda, and Yoda has to stop everything that he's doing.
Yes.
Like you're saying, stops everything that he's doing just to stop that rock.
Right.
Place it somewhere else.
The criticism that you said for Vader, and like breaking that character, him being super OP, I would say that for me, I think that would apply for Obi-Wan in the rocks.
I would say even with Vader in this fight. I mean,
because you see Vader do something even crazier.
Vader yoinked the ship out of the
exactly. You see Vader do that
because that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about on this show. In that episode, I think that scene is cool when he steps in and yoinks
I love
the
that.
ship
I love that scene.
And it's awesome in the way that like Star Killer is awesome in the video game Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
In the way that it's awesome when Vader does that to the AT-ST in Rebels.
Yeah.
Right. But
the way he does it in the graphic novels as well.
Yeah, exactly. But there's always like a level of suspension. And again, your mileage may vary. You might not care, but this is how I feel. There's always a suspension of disbelief, a level of disconnect when it's a cartoon, a video game, or a comic book, because you're like, at the end of the day, it's not sitting side by side by a movie. Okay? It's extra, right? But when I see him do it here, it's still super cool. But now I'm wondering, why he doesn't do things like this
More
all the
often,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, why aren't Obi-Wan and Vader, and mind you, yes, they're older, yes, they're more limited, but why 10 years from now aren't these two men just tearing up the Death Star, in A New Hope? Like, why do we need to sneak into the Death Star when apparently Obi-Wan could just toss all these stormtroopers aside if he really wants to? Why is Vader like a political puppet, throughout A New Hope and Empire when,
He can do whatever he wants.
yeah, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Like basically what Kylo ends up trying to, like what he does.
yeah.
Also, they do that in Rise of Skywalker.
Meaning,
They pull it, like both of them pull the ship, like they hold the ship out of the sky,
yeah.
and then
I don't even
and
remember.
then
I
Rey
don't
just
know.
blows it up with Force lightning.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this. Not a big fan of Rise of Skywalker.
Oh my god! No,
Yeah, I think I've only seen the movie.
Seen it in
I've
theaters.
No,
seen
we
it,
saw it in
I've
theater how
seen
many
it too
times?
many times, and
I think I saw it
Why would you do that to
three-
yourself?
Well, we saw it on opening night.
Yeah, we
then
saw
we
it
saw it
opening night.
again.
listen.
that
I saw it the first night, and
Why
I
would
was
you see it outside of movie theaters?
I saw it. What?
because it dropped on Disney Plus during the pandemic. For
I don't think I
free.
watched it at home.
Oh, because you said you've seen it a bunch of times, so that's why.
Yeah,
I
I
was
saw it a
like,
bunch of time in theaters.
Theaters.
No,
Oh, okay,
I
okay, my
saw it
bad.
once at home because we didn't need to buy it. Because I decided in that short window where we stopped watching it in theaters and then the pandemic hit, I was like, when this comes out, I'm not gonna buy it.
I've never-
This will be the first Star Wars movie that I never buy, and then it dropped for free on Disney Plus super early.
I've never watched it at home. I like if it's on TV, I'll change the channel.
Yeah. During the pandemic, I did a Star Wars. I did 1 through 9, so I did watch it one more time. But yeah,
Okay, what else? Qui-Gon Jinn, man. Are you kidding me, man?
that's a big one.
Are you kidding me, bro?
Why does he sound more Scottish?
No, that's how he sounds in Phantom Menace.
Does he?
Nah,
I don't-
maybe because I haven't seen
Seen
him
it
in a while, but
he sounded really Scottish.
but I was
and
like,
that's
is this
why,
still Qui-Gon?
And that's why I want to. But that's
The
what-
Force, the Force heaven is Scotland.
Okay, now explain what you're gonna explain right now. Why you
He's Scottish or Irish?
explain your
He's
reasoning.
Scottish. No, he's Irish.
He's Irish.
Yeah, he's Irish.
Oh, Irish. Yeah, whatever. I'm sorry.
Please,
Forgive me.
apologies to our fans in Ireland. and
Apologies to
Scotland.
Liam Neeson.
I think we have in Ireland, but not
We
in
do.
Scotland.
Forgive
so.
me. Forgive me, Dairy Girls. I love that show. I love Ireland.
I don't think it's the Dairy Girls that are listening to the show, though.
They
I
will
love-
one day.
Although I hope.
I hope one day.
What were you gonna say?
No. You explain
Yeah. What?
why you don't like the.
Oh,
that scene.
okay. So Gabriel
Your gripe
explained
with the.
why from a like thematic, contextual level, and then I'll explain from a technical,
And
which
then
I
I'll-
assume is what you're.
And then I'll explain why I think the opposite.
Okay.
What
go
are we
ahead.
talking about?
You explain why you didn't like it from a thematic level. Like, what were your expectation of
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon
Qui-Gon.
and what you got? Because honestly, I think the big gripe is they were building to this from the very beginning,
Yeah.
right?
High expectations.
Yeah.
You get me? Like when people think, oh, what's going on in this time? Well, you kind of expect Qui-Gon in the show,
No,
right?
not
In the
only
movie.
that,
But you are doing it in your own show.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have expectations that you don't really necessarily know if you're
can't
gonna
put
get
that
it.
on us,
Yeah.
right?
But you're doing it in your first episode of your show.
He's reaching out
Yeah,
to try
yeah.
to communicate with Obi-Wan.
But my thing is, this was touted as a miniseries, it was a limited series, on the one-time thing. Show's over, the story with Obi-Wan, that's it.
Mhm.
When I finished the last episode, and Qui-Gon comes out, and they head off into the canyon, I was like, there's no way that these people made this show thinking that there wasn't gonna be season 2.
Why?
First of all, even with Reva still being alive, and I mean she's probably
Being
gonna
redeemed
get
in a way, yeah.
Well,
being redeemed and probably gonna get a show on her for herself. But even then,
By the way, I just realized we never spoiler warning this episode, but continue.
Oh, I'm sorry.
it is what
guys,
it is.
Spoilers.
Guys,
Spoilers.
spoilers. Anakin dies.
But not really.
So Reva.
Okay, so Reva, and then because in my head, when they announced the show, I thought it was gonna be Obi-Wan going through really hard times, and Qui-Gon kind of being a therapist for him and like a teacher, a master,
All throughout from the beginning.
from
Oh man.
maybe
now-
bro
Maybe like-
second, third episode.
Right,
But
okay.
I'm saying he has to be like
Right.
more than 4 lines.
His Obi-Wan. Right?
Yes.
He models. Qui-Gon serves to Obi what
Well,
Obi-Wan
Obi-Wan
needs
needs to Luke. Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
that's literally what I had in mind. That's
That's not even like an expectation. That's like obvious.
You have to.
That's what you obviously have to do, right?
Which is why when we watched the last episode, when I watched it with Link, I was like,
At 2 a.m.
this is gonna be. This has to be what season 2 is gonna be.
Oh no, I hadn't. Wow, I hadn't even.
This has to be
that.
because if they do not,
If they don't have a season,
they're gonna have season 2.
because you know
They're gonna have a season 2.
and you know what, we're gonna be suckers and we're gonna watch it.
I mean, we are gonna watch it.
We
So
are
we
gonna
already
watch
have
it.
Disney
You get me?
Plus.
You
But
get-
I'm not gonna do a miniseries every week. I'm not gonna wake up at 3:00 in the morning.
No shot.
And record.
I don't know,
Nah,
man.
they
If
have
that-
to earn my
Yeah.
trust
Yeah.
back.
Okay. So when I saw him like, oh, please answer me, Obi-Wan.
It's
And
been 10 freaking years.
And
you're
that's all
telling
you
me-
do.
when I saw him, I was like, okay, so what they're going to do is they're going to tell the story about how he can't communicate with Qui-Gon. And then Qui-Gon's going to appear for that moment where he gives him, you know, the will, you know, to push forward to the end and complete the task, right?
Mhm.
Obtain the ultimate boon.
Even in the fight, you instead of having the flashback of Obi-Wan remembering like the kids he like Leia, which he just met,
No, remember Qui-Gon?
I thought it was going to be like,
Qui-Gon could have shown up. Qui-Gon
Yeah.
could have said something.
even just a voice.
flashbacks.
Luke,
flashbacks.
use the fort, you know?
Flashbacks of Qui-Gon remembering his
Yeah.
master. Like
Mhm.
it's right. Okay, continue. Sorry.
And then from a technical standpoint, this was my gripe. I haven't done any research on it. And remember, I just got off a long trip and I slept 3 days, you know, when I returned, and I didn't have internet for a long time. And I did a cursory search and I couldn't find any information. But when I saw it, I suspected that they didn't even get Liam Neeson, that he just had like archival footage. And I can't verify this. I don't know this. Maybe this will come out or it has already. But it just seemed like random dialogue. I think the first thing he tells him is, what took you so long? And then he says, I was here all along. You just couldn't see. And then he goes, we've got a long ways to go. And I was just like, is this a Liam Neeson automated like voice recording? Like, is this for prank calling?
it could be. I remember Liam Neeson. I mean,
He said he wasn't going to be in it, right?
he said he didn't want to do TV like at
Yeah.
all. So then Pete, when he showed up in the show, everyone was like, "Oh, you're like Andrew Garfield and like lying about if you're in it or not." But I mean, it would make sense that he didn't actually film for
because
TV.
he did voice work for Clone Wars, but
Yeah.
it's just voice work.
And the reason why I think it actually could be him is because he sounds more Irish right now.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what
I
like,
am
what,
who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
He does sound a bit different.
So that's why I'm like, oh, okay, it's new.
Yeah, and if it is new, that's what you got him to say.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
what you're
Why is it so
saying.
stilted? Why is it so disconnected?
Because even if there, okay, I know there's gonna be season 2, but even if there is not a season 2,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you got Qui-Gon to come back for. In this limited show, that is the part that Qui-Gon comes back. He says 4 things or 3 things.
Yeah, man.
But you know what? Those 4 things, those 4 lines, 2 lines, I don't know, whatever,
I think it's 3.
3 will sell you on a season 2.
No, not me.
No. But I'm
it
saying,
upsets me.
It's gonna set people.
but I'm saying, if for whatever reason there is no season 2,
Oh, that's pointless.
and you follow
That's
follow
freaking pointless.
and
Oh
you
my goodness.
follow what they said that they were gonna do and keeping this limited to a 1 season thing, are you kidding me?
Bro.
Which goes back to it. They lied to me. They knew they were going
Yeah.
for a second season.
Mhm.
That's it.
Okay, and I also don't love this ambivalence. We were here for the end of Moon Knight, which I'm not sure if I love as a limited series or if I want another season of, because they don't know supposedly whether they're doing it. They don't know supposedly if there's a season 2. Gabriel suspects they do know that they want one very badly. I don't think they can help themselves. I don't think if it's not this year, it's next year, it's in 5 years.
She just said, Kathleen Kennedy said they're open for season 2.
I
They're
know-
open
I
to
know
do
this.
season 2.
I know
So it's
they
like,
said it, but it's gonna happen. I just don't know how to feel. All right, so it had its highs, it had its lows, and one thing that came up in conversation for me was the idea that Star Wars is for everyone, and I kind of like that concept, but then that means that eventually Star Wars won't be for me. Everyone doesn't want the same things out of everything. And in order to service everyone, at some point, we are not serviced. This series did a lot of good in the views of many, but it also did some harm in the views of others. More and more, we're living in an increasingly divided world with diverse perspectives that sometimes come to clash and conflict. What is good for one is bad for another. But we move forward and we try our best to coexist, cohabitate, cooperate, and collaborate in a world that serves, quote unquote, the greater good. Sometimes we meet that standard and sometimes we fall short of it. But we pick ourselves up and we try again. And we move forward on the path of the Jedi. And as we walk that path week to week, I invite you to move forward and seek the force behind it all. Until next time, keep searching. If you want to hear the rest of this conversation, including what we would do to fix Disney Plus's Obi-Wan Kenobi series, sign up to our Patreon and listen to the extended play of this episode.
Good job.
All right. Danny, you there? Oh, okay. Sorry, that's just one clap there, okay? And then we're going to go into our extended play now.